Well, after a year of mass shootings capped by the massacre of 20 children and 6 adults by a crazed gunman armed with assault weapons and enough ammo for a small battalion, Washington and the media have been consumed in gun control. Media analyst Jackie Guzda joins us today for a look at the fallout, and we're talking about the president has asked for a national conversation on gun control, but the conversation has been anything but civil. We'll take a listen.
Anything but civil. They're using all kinds of arguments not to have an honest, fact-finding conversation.
Yeah. We'll take a listen to this piece from Piers Morgan just a couple of nights ago.
Metal shark in the water.
The same type of weapon was used in the last three mass shootings.
And Hitler used semi-autos to kill people.
Why would you
and
not?
So did Mao.
Why would you?
Why is the government armed to the teeth against us?
Alex, I don't
What about Fast and Furious?
Alex,
why did our government ship guns into Mexico?
Alex.
To blame the Second Amendment?
Let's have a debate.
A false flag?
Alex.
To blame the Second Amendment?
I get accused.
Why'd they blow up Building 7 down the street here in New York?
I get accused when I get you guys on of talking over you, of being rude. I'm trying to be civil.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to try and answer.
And that is what the conversation has been like.
That's part of it, yeah.
It's just been, it's hard to get somewhere in the middle where you get people talking cogently about how do we address this issue.
Well, you know, I'm glad that that happened. And I'm glad that happened because you can see that Alex Jones has a little bit of fear in him, if not paranoia. And that's one of the tactics that they're using to confuse this conversation. If you bring up fear, they're going to take our guns away. Well, what's next? Are we going to have martial law in the United States? There are people who believe that.
Well, you know, the NRA has conveniently moved away from the argument that was then when you had a militia that was formed to protect the community.
Right. Now
it's a totally, this is 2000, past the year 2000.
That's right.
And they haven't moved that argument to today.
Right. Well, you know, they're using all kinds of tactics to do that, Brian. I mean, of course, we are living in a whole different society than we did when the Second Amendment was first created. If you notice that they're trying to move the conversation from guns in the hands of common citizens in urban societies, etc., into a conversation about mental health.
Right.
Of course, people who have mental health problems should not be carrying guns. They're going to talk about violent video games, violence in the media, and how that encourages people to become mass shooters. Yes, studies have shown that violence in the media makes us more aggressive. However, they're using that argument to deflect away from the case of guns in the hands.
Sure, and you know, you look at this thing that happened in Newtown.
Right.
Those guns were purchased legally by the shooter's mother.
That's right.
He gets his hands on them and goes crazy. So, you know, but they don't want to talk about that part of the argument. Well, let me ask you this, though. What part does the press play in this? I mean, have we been overly one-sided on this issue because it's so easy to feel sorry for dead children and innocently murdered people?
You know, I think the press is really mirroring what our society believes at the time. If you look at coverage of every single mass shooting that we've had Virginia Tech, we had the shooting in Arizona, we've had Newtown, it pretty much stays that 50% of the people really want to change in gun control laws. 50% of the people want to protect the rights of gun owners. Now, the only time that really changed, and this is according to the Pew Research Center, is after Newtown when those children were killed. Now, 49% of the public want to protect the rights or want to have more gun control laws. Only 42% now are in the favor of protecting the rights of gun owners. So it's tipped over a little bit now. We'll see what happens. Will it come back to 50-50? It's happened that way in every other mass shooting.
Well, we have short-term memory.
Yeah.
I think as Americans, we typically have short-term memory. For a few weeks, maybe a couple of months, we'll remember Newtown and it'll go away. And the NRA will increase their arguments on the other end of that.
Right.
But I wonder, does the media play a responsibility here in keeping this part of the issue alive?
I think we do, because we are the ones that facilitate the conversation. And the conversation has got to happen. If we go back to thinking, oh, well, we'll pass one little law here, one little law there, which has happened in the past, and everybody calms down, we're going to have another Newtown. We're going to have another Virginia Tech. I think as a society, we've got to look at what we want to happen. This is a good time for us to examine our values. Do we still believe in the rugged individualist who has to protect their rights, protect their property, etc.? That's fine. if that's what we want, that's the kind of laws we're going to have.
Well, have we been unfair to those who responsibly want to own a gun for hunting or self-protection?
I'm not quite sure if we should use the word unfair. I think that what we need to do before we judge what the media has done or what society has decided, we have to look at every single aspect of this before we can make decisions.
We talked a lot about people who want to own guns, but we rarely look at this argument through the prism of people who say they don't need to own guns. There are
Right.
many people who just say, I don't want a gun in my house. I don't need it.
Right.
And that's something we haven't heard about. But we'll talk about that the next time.
Yeah.
But thanks, Jackie, for coming on board.
You're so welcome.
Appreciate it.